Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, hi, how are you? If you are returning, thanks for coming back. I figured I could do the Booktube Newbie Challenge where I answer some questions about myself and you guys can get to know me if you really feel like it. The first question is, why did you start this channel? So, I have been a lover of books for a really long time. I have always really connected with books. I've always been an introvert, so when I came across people on YouTube that were making a community and growing a community of other book lovers that were talking about what they were reading and what they enjoyed and what they didn't enjoy and giving each other recommendations, I wanted that. And so I worked up the courage to post my first video, and now here I am, only a couple videos in, and really enjoying myself, really excited to put content out there. I'm scheduling, which I never do. I'm very much a fly by the seat of my pants person. Scheduling, and I'm planning, and I'm looking to the future to say, okay, this month I'm gonna do this. Very exciting, and it gives me something to look forward to, and it also gives me somewhere to put my creative juices, I guess. So yeah, that's why. Next is, what are some fun and unique things that you bring to Booktube? I think Booktube has a lot of great minds already, people that are doing amazing things and putting out great content. And I think that along with everybody else, I really bring a love for books. Books are a very subjective thing, so one person has different life experiences than this other person, and so they like different books or they look at books differently. You can never get too many perspectives on one book because everyone is coming to this book with different life experiences. So it allows everybody to have a different input, and so through talking about books, and you're looking at books differently because they say, you know, oh, well, I interpreted it like this, and you're like, okay, yeah, I didn't see that before, but I see that now. Or you could have enjoyed a book and someone else didn't enjoy it, and you can talk to them about it and figure out why they didn't enjoy it, and they can think about why you enjoyed it. Another aspect is that I fully enjoy books. Even if I don't enjoy the genre of books, I see the value of every genre: romance, nonfiction, fantasy, everything. I see the place that it has in literature, and I kind of want to break the stigma that, you know, romance doesn't have a place in literature, smut doesn't have a place in literature, because that's just not true. Reading should be an enjoyable experience, and it should expand your mind, and it should shape the way that you think or change the way that you think. While not every book is going to be an epiphany for you and change the way you view the world, you should still be able to enjoy books. And if you love romance, you love sex scenes, you love steamy stuff, there's nothing wrong with that. Reading should be enjoyable for everybody, and you shouldn't be ashamed to say that you like, you know, the smuttiest book in the world or whatever, what someone might think is the worst written book in the world. If you enjoy it, then you should have no shame in saying that. I should be able to say, oh, I read 50 Shades of Grey, in the same way that someone else might say, oh, I read Moby Dick. There should be no shame, which 50 Shades of Grey is a bad example because, anyways. But I kind of want to break through that mold that these different genres don't have any value, because they do, and you do what you enjoy, and if reading is something that you enjoy, then you should be able to find a book or books or genres that you love. So, next is, why do I love reading? So when I was a child, I struggled very, very hard in school. I actually had to go to a learning facility that taught me how to read and do math, which I still can't do math. Struggled a lot. I couldn't really read sentences at an age that I should have been able to. And through this journey, I also grew my relationship with my mom. My mom would sit down with me every single night and we would read a book together. And books kind of became something that we could talk about. We have grown a much, much stronger relationship. But as a child, I really enjoyed those times where I could sit with my mom and we could talk and read books together. And I felt like that was a time for both of us to really separate the stresses that were going on in our lives and just enjoy each other's company and enjoy the books that we were reading. And over time, books kind of became a safe haven for me, through family dramas at school, whatever. They really kind of helped me not think, I guess, and kind of get through what I might have been experiencing at that time. I didn't read like groundbreaking books. I read fantasy mostly. I read like YA romance fantasy, and I just enjoyed it. It was something that I got lost in, and it was also a sort of sense of pride for me because I felt like I overcame the learning struggles that I had. So it was a safe haven, but it was also a source of pride for me. What book or series got you into reading? So there are a couple, mostly Twilight. I still like Twilight. I think even though it's not without its problems, it really shaped our genre at that time. This is a series that my mom and I kind of read together, and we both really enjoyed and kind of talked over, and the middle of the series really resonated with our family, some things that we were going through at that time. And I know that sounds odd because it's about werewolves and vampires, but if you've read New Moon, then you can probably guess at what I'm hinting at. But it just really emotionally connected to us, and it was also a catalyst for a lot of friendships that I had in middle school when we read this, because it got a lot of middle school girls really interested in it. So I had a lot of friendships through that where we would just talk about Twilight and all of that. This was the first series that I like totally devoured. So even though Harry Potter is a very meaningful series to me, and I love Harry Potter and I read it every single year, I never really devoured it the way that I did Twilight. And so Twilight really kind of shaped my reading experience. What questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? I would probably ask them the thing that they've struggled most with on Booktube and what they have gotten out of Booktube. I watch booktubers from every sub-count, so I like to ask these different questions to people that are experiencing different levels of interaction with people in the community and see what their responses would be, because obviously someone that has 300,000 subscribers isn't going to be the same as someone that has 300. They're experiencing it differently, and I would like to see the impact that the community has had on everyone, just get their feeling on it. What challenges do you think starting a booktube channel will be the hardest to overcome? I think the hardest challenge will be struggle with feeling like I'm not being recognized, which I'm not doing this to be the next famous YouTuber. I'm not doing this for anything like that. I think that if I were getting into this for that, then I would be very mistaken or very upset, because my basis for doing this would be very empty. I would be doing this for fame, and that's just a very shallow way to look at it. But I think I can imagine it would be very draining or very upsetting to feel like you're putting 100% of yourself into something and not being recognized. That is not to say that booktubers are not. They certainly are, and they did it for a lot longer than we have been. We being, you know, new YouTubers have done it, and they've obviously been successful, and there's reasons that they've been successful. But I can imagine that that would be kind of disheartening to feel like no one is really seeing you and seeing the effort that you put in. Next is, when did you start reading? Like I mentioned, have been reading for the majority of my life. The time that I entered the learning program and all of that was in elementary school, 2nd or 3rd grade. And really since then I've been reading from the time that I can remember, avidly reading, like coming home and doing nothing but reading and reading till I go to bed and just being all consumed with books, is probably middle school. 6th grade, 7th grade. I just couldn't get enough of books from then till now. And yeah. Where do I read? I read everywhere. I read in bed, I read at work, I listen to audiobooks in my car. Anytime that I am able to read, I read. That is not to say that I don't get in slumps, because I definitely do, but my way to remedy slumps is to read more books, and so I'm never not reading. If I'm having a particularly stressful day or an exhausting day, then I probably will come home and just do something mindless, but even then I'm watching videos of people talk about books, so my whole life is books, really. And what kind of books do you like to read? I pretty much read everything but nonfiction. Even then, I'm kind of getting a little bit into nonfiction. I recently read The Glass Castle and I really enjoyed it. So I've been looking for memoirs to pick up and get into. There really isn't anything that I don't read. Predominantly, I would say that I read fantasy. I'm kind of getting more into contemporary, but mostly I'm into fantasy and sci-fi. So yeah. That concludes my Booktube Newbie Tag. I am very excited to be joining this community, and I'm excited for all of the content that I have planned, and I'm excited to build a family of people that just want to talk about books like I do. So thank you for watching, and hope you enjoyed, and I will catch you in my next video.